here with the Bellator Middleweight Champion, Johnny Eblen, and number one contender, Fabian Edwards. We are a couple of days out from what will be a very, very interesting rematch, especially given the first fight was very back and forth. We had some blood spilled, we had some takedowns defended, and we had a big knockout to finish.
Left hand that we're talking about again, he goes down.
Edwards goes down. He's going to finish Edwards in round three. Elbows, he's out. Johnny, pressure is Johnny, champion again.
I very much feel like you guys could fight every weekend and we get a different result each time. Start with the champion, start with Johnny. Tell me about your perspective of the last fight, what the feeling was coming out of it, and how you feel looking back at it.
Honestly, I felt, really good about the first fight. Obviously, I got caught with an elbow. Very, very technical striker in Edwards. And he caught me when I was hanging out in mid-range, a little bit too long when I broke from the clinch. And, yeah, that's something I took away from that fight.
Defense against a guy like Eblen, and now Edwards on the break with the elbow strike.
What was the message in the corner when you got back there? Obviously, quite a sizable cut right in a bad place as well. You must have kind of felt like time was all of a sudden very limited in a fight that had, 15 minutes left. Did you feel like you had to put your foot on the gas for that next round?
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of urgency in my corner. And I was like, I couldn't really feel like the cut or anything. I didn't know how bad it was. But they said it's pretty bad. And I was like, okay, well, it looks like I got to, turn it up this round. And I did, and I got the job done.
I know if I'd have landed an elbow and cut my opponent like that, I would have been like, right, okay, it's only a matter of time before I get the fight finished. What was the feeling going into that third round? And also your hindsight of the first two rounds that you had together?
I felt like the first two rounds that were shared, I felt like I won those two rounds. I felt like won the grappling exchanges and the striking, but it was a close round, but I felt like I squeezed it. But yeah, when I got the cut, I think it played in my mind a little bit at the time when I'm looking back at it. I should have focused and kept doing what I was doing, but I feel like it played a role that made me switch.
So regarding this fight coming up, what do you think Fabian got from your performance in the last fight that's going to change his game plan coming into this one?
I don't think much. You can tell from his answer. He's just going to go skill for skill. And like you said, if we fought a bunch of different times, we might get a different outcome each time. I disagree, but I think the cards are more on my end. I think I have more cards to play with.
Again, you can both disagree with me. It feels to me like you're quite a technical striker and you like a clean performance where the person doesn't really get anything on you at all. And on the other side, you're quite happy to grind through someone. Is that a wrestling mentality that comes from, or is it something that you kind of accept as part of your style?
No, it's just sometimes you got to get down and dirty a little bit, but I'm not trying to only be in that type of fighter. I think I am evolving as a fighter to where I can be a little bit more technical when I choose to, when I need to, but sometimes you can't. Sometimes you're trying to be technical and clean with it, but you're still getting caught. And it's like, okay, well, now I got to get in the mud a little bit and I got to make this a rough fight.
Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I feel like I used to be. I was too it needs to be perfect. I just go in there, I come out clean. I feel like that was the mindset. Not for the last few years, So, but with this camp, we've kind of changed it. We've changed it and just understand that it's a fight. I know everyone tries to say, oh, it's a fight and there's two men in there that's trained hard and that's going to fight. So I kind of understood that. You can't always be clean and pretty. You have to just get into it sometimes.
How did you replicate Fabian's style in sparring to prepare you?
So I wasn't too focused on replicating his style, more so just getting an open stance look constantly. And then I sparred 120 rounds this camp because it was just so long. It got pushed again, and I was like, damn, bro, I just finished my camp. I got to do another few weeks of sparring. But I was training with two guys each time. I'd do 3 rounds with one and then 2 rounds with the last, and they were fresh. And I think that's how you prepare for it, digging deep and trying to stay clean when you're tired.
So 120 rounds of sparring. Do you keep track of those things? Do you know how many rounds you've done or anything like that? Talk to me about the structure of your training camp for this fight.
We'd be all day in it. We'd be all day. So I just know the work I put in. I know how much rounds I've done. That's it. I just know what I've done. I can tell you the rounds if I really work it out, but I don't need to. I just know the work that I've done.
But what would it mean for you to get the belt around your waist?
It means a lot because I've been in the company for 6 years or 7 years, whatever it was. I've always said I want to get the Bellator belt. Just just for like my achievement, you know what I mean? Like I'll throw it on my amateur belts. Like I was like, fuck them. I want a world title.
Do you ever think about losing the belt? Do you think about seeing it around someone's waist, and does that motivate you in any different kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all get like different viewpoints of what could happen, and you play them out, and you're like, oh, that's not very great, you know? So yeah, I think it does motivate me because it's like he said, he was doing extra bits after training because he wants that belt. I'm doing extra bits after training so I don't give up my belt.
Of all the people that you've fought over your career, people that you've defended your belt against, how does Fabian stack up against those fighters?
Everybody's a little bit different. They all bring different challenges, and my whole game plan is just to be so well-rounded to where it doesn't matter how good you are in each art. I'm going to find a way to exploit it, and I'm going to find a way to win.
What would your advice to yourself be going into that first fight with Johnny?
Don't make that mistake of throwing that knee.
Of course, yeah. Anything that you would change about your approach of the first 2 rounds? Anything that you've learned from that first fight that you can take into this next one?
I've learned a lot. I have learned a lot, but for me to sit here and tell you what I've learned and tell him what I'm going to do, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
That's my job, is to try and squeeze this stuff out.
Bro, we're playing poker.
I mean,
Of course.
I know you want to see all the cards.
Violent poker.
You know what I mean?
Talk to me about the middleweight division just in general across the world. You're the world champion right now, but there are other middleweight champions out there, and there's a conversation around who is the best. How do you put yourself at the top of that list?
It's really hard to say that because we can't fight everybody, and that's the biggest issue. I wish we could cross-promote and make more matchups. I'm sure people would like to see me fight people in the UFC. I'm sure people would like to see Fabian fight guys in the UFC. And if we were able to like mix things up like that, I think it would be very, very interesting. Luckily, I get to train with a former world champion, Sean Strickland, and our rounds are pay-per-view rounds, man. Sometimes he gets me, sometimes I get him. And it's just like, it's kind of cool, though, that we're both making money. We both can train together, and there's no ego. And we happen to be in separate promotions, so we don't have to fight each other.
If you beat Eblen and take the belt, do you call yourself the best middleweight on the planet?
I'm one of the best. You know what I mean? It's the same. I have to agree, because how can they say a man's better than you if you've never fought him? You know what I mean?
Obviously, we know as fighters, confidence is a big part of winning. And I would say that your
Confidence can be too much could be a big problem.
Absolutely, it can. Is that something that you're both conscious of? You don't want to be too confident. You don't want to get ahead of yourself. Is that a mentality that you have?
I just look at, I forget all of that overcome. I just look at the fight and prepare. You know what I mean? And I go in there and I approach it. Obviously, I'm confident in myself because I wouldn't fight. You know what I mean? I wouldn't accept the fight if I wasn't confident in myself. But I'm not going in there thinking that I'm going to go in there and just nothing gonna happen to me. I mean, I think about all the different scenarios, but in my head, I always think win. You know what I mean? So I might think I'm hurt, I'm this, I'm whatever. I might even get injured in the fight. But I always think win at the end.
It's really interesting to have two very, very high-level elite fighters that are also very calm and cerebral about the reality of the situation. Like, you both realize that you can do a tremendous amount of damage to one another, and you both realize that you can walk away with the belt at the end of the day. Is that exciting to have that adrenaline rush that you've got someone that's formidable in front of you that you have to be on your A game for?
It's what fighting's all about, man. It's like if you knew you're going to win every time, there's no risk. It's all about minimizing that risk by training, by your fight IQ, and there's a laundry list of things. But at the end of the day, you're still risking it, and without the risk, there's no reward.
Yeah, of course. Because I would say it's my boxing coach. Obviously, we don't know about boxing all weekend. There's so many fights in boxing where you know he's going to win. You know what I mean? Like, you know he's going to win. So to have most MMA fights are 50-50, and to have that and know that I got someone in there that I have to wake up early for, that's exciting.
I'm excited for this one, boys. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss this fight. It is going to be one of the rematches of the century. Middleweight Bellator Championship on the line. Johnny Eblen defending against Fabian Edwards. Do not miss.